ride with the mob.
My name is ToreyBest. I am the co-founder and CEO of Beats and Books, which is a nonprofit organization that focuses mainly on music industry education. That's everything from like doing workshops and educational events to mentorship programs, scholarships, pretty much everything. Well, Beats and Books started originally as an idea, or like an event idea actually. And then once I saw how successful the event went, and then everybody comes back and says, oh, we need to, or this is a better way that you can do it, this is what we need, this is something we could use all over the country, these things. And I was like, well, I mean, if we can use it, why not make it? And I sat with the idea of, well, I just kind of realized that there was something that was lacking in the industry, and I thought that was, well, I firmly believe now that it's just education, and the biggest thing is business education. Allowing people to be able to actually move into a space where they're confident and know what they're talking about. If you're gonna talk to me about a deal, I know the ins and outs of everything, so you're gonna have to meet me with your A game because I'm on mine. And coming from that idea and really developing, well, if I have the access to these people, or if I've been blessed enough to get where I've gotten and meet who I've met, then why not pass that on to the next person? So I started from that point, just really figuring out how can I help people, how can I teach people. And then we started with our events that gradually grew out into our like after school programs, the scholarships and everything that we're doing to our tours. But it all started from an event idea, and then just really wanted to help and teach people. I believe that the largest downfall, especially for our culture, especially with the way the music industry is going and the way the entertainment industry is going, is really understanding and just general education, knowing what you're talking about, knowing what you're getting yourself into, and also just education, and especially in business, very much speaking, because I know that you can be the most creative person in the world, but if you can't walk into a space and know how to get your return in for the things that you put out, then you'll be wasting all of your time, so to speak. Our very first event was at Morehouse College over in the AUC, which is actually my alma mater, but we've also done things at Howard University. We've been at SAE Institute here in Atlanta a few times. We are also working on a podcast program out, and when I say we, it's Beats and Books in partnership with DJ Waffles. We're working on a podcast program out in Rockdale County, which is Conyers. That's kind of like an after-school program for high school kids. And then we've done where our next stop is coming up in South by Southwest in Austin. So we're starting to spread out a little bit, getting things here and there. Classical music, man, is my thing. A lot of people say they listen to everything, but I literally listen to everything. I have Bach is actually my favorite composer, but I got into music when I was in 3rd grade, really watching the Drumline movie. Drums are my thing. I got into concert band when I was in 6th grade, and after that it was kind of raps. I got exposed to different sides of music, how deep it can go. I did concert band, marching band all the way through high school and into college as well. When I got to Morehouse, I was a composition major, which is probably one of the best decisions I've made in my life. And it really allowed me to understand how music works on a more complex level, what makes it good, and then even further that into the fraternity that I joined, which is Phi Mu Alpha, which is a music fraternity. I learned not only what makes good music, but also what music does to affect people. How can it benefit people? How can we grow from it? What are the inner truths that even reveals about us? So yeah, man, classical music really showed me what music actually is. It's hard to teach people theory if they don't want to learn it. It's hard to teach anybody anything if they don't want to learn it. But I think that as far as the creativity and allowing people to, or showing them different ways that they can kind of make the best of what they're doing. Like there's something called counterpoint, man. Like I said, my favorite composer is Bach. And what that basically is you take one melody, and we're gonna show you all the different ways that you can flip it. That's front to back, upside down, switching a few notes, dropping a few. And it's like once you show people that, you can take, it doesn't have to be complex classical music. I'm writing orchestra or I'm writing orchestrations and stuff. You can translate that into your audio production and things like that. So I don't think it's complicated or hard to teach per se, if you can find something that makes it to relate to. Something simple, you start with a simple idea and make it bigger. Everybody has this big dream of, of what the industry is, but it's like I'm here and that's way over there, and there's no in-between space. So really they just want that exposure, And then once they get, I think that once they get in, they don't even realize what it is that they really wanted to do, or that they wanted to know. So once you start talking to them about, for lack of a better term, they don't even know the questions to ask. So you show them what the opportunities or what the options are, and then they develop their questions and they learn things that they could have never even asked about when they come. So the biggest thing, I guess, the very first thing that people say when they come in is like, oh, you have this person, or I heard y'all talking about, how to make money in the industry. They're like, okay, that's something, I'm trying to close this gap some type of way between us. Oh, and then you have somebody who's Grammy nominated. Yeah, I need to kind of be in that room, just to be in the room. So that's kind of how it starts. And we'll say, if we're talking about like mainstream production and things like that, the hardest thing for me personally is being able to dial it back because a lot of producers try to overproduce, like I'm going to throw all this to show I'm good. It's like, but you also have to realize that the artist is just as much part of the masterpiece as your production. So you got to pull it back to give them somewhere to sit. And if they don't have a bed to lay in, then they won't be laying in the bed. So the hardest thing for me is dialing that back. I think the hardest thing that a lot of people have run into as far as production is mixing, like making their stuff sound good. Because it doesn't no matter how creative or how groovy or whatever it is that you want to call it, if it doesn't sound good, in the first 5 seconds I'm like, yeah, probably not. So I think that a lot of people, artists, producers, everybody you have to take care of the engineer, man. Love the engineers. That's what it is, because they are going to make and break you, for sure. Right now, my favorite producer is called, I think it's Gallimacious. He did Alina Baraz's Urban Flora EP. Man, it's magical. I ain't gonna hold you. And I have friends, of course, I'm not gonna put them in there. I say to my friends, I support them, but if you're talking about all time, I ain't gonna hold you, man. I watched this Quincy documentary, and I had already known about Quincy Jones, but just watching, man, he was on a completely different level of things. And not just the music itself, but the way he carried it. Like, if you're an icon in every single decade, it's like, come on, right? I can't really say much. So Quincy Jones takes it hands down, man. The artist that complements their production the most, I would have to say, is Black. Not 6 Lack, but Black. But it's just from the raspiness of his voice, just the way, like, the picture that's painted in the production wraps right into his voice, like he belongs there. And from the melodies that he uses, he highlights things in the tracks that a lot of people don't look for. A lot of people say, I got a track, I'm gonna put myself on the track, rather than I'm going to put myself in the track, if that makes sense. So Black takes it. If you have something to say, we want you to have a place to say it. If you want to give back, we want to give you a place to give back, a space to give back, where you can do it comfortably and not feel like I'm doing this just because I have to. It's like, a conversation can go a long way. So we want to give people spaces where your conversations can change somebody's life. So if you have something to say, Beats and Books is here for you. The thing that I want people to take away from it, I want people to know about it the most, is that you can really do what you're saying that you want to do. It might not be as clear cut, but the very first thing you can do is take the very first step. And I want people to see Beats and Books as, if not the very first step into going in a better direction, the very next step and going in a better direction and feel comfortable. Well, our website is about to launch. It's going to be beatsandbooks.org, or it is beatsandbooks.org. You can also find us on Instagram, Facebook at Beats and Books. It's Beats X Books. The X means and. But Beats and Books, and that's pretty much on every platform. And then, like I said, check us out on our website, beatsandbooks.org.